since 1926. Visit your local hardware store or garden center today or learn more online at bonide.com.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit Espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Bloomers in the Garden, folks. Harold is a regular listener. Thank you, Howard, for calling us.
Please join us Mondays and Saturdays at 2 on WWDB for Investors Schooling Live with real estate and stock options trading professionals Phil Falcone and Larry Steinhaus. This is the show and the school you've been waiting for. Listen to the radio show on WWDB Mondays and Saturdays at 2 p.m. or register for one of our free Thursday night classes at investorschooling.com. Go register at investorschooling.com right now.
Are you tired of talk radio that's obsessed with Vladimir Putin or the latest war du jour? Then maybe you should be listening to the Pennsylvania Project. Hi, I'm Ken Krawchuk, host of the Pennsylvania Project. Our mission is to boldly showcase the political, cultural, and environmental challenges facing contemporary Pennsylvania and to relentlessly pursue correct solutions that actually have relevance to your life, not Vladimir's. So solve the correct problem and tune in to the Pennsylvania Project here on WWDB, Mondays at 3 p.m.
WWDB Philadelphia, 860 AM.
The opinions and statements expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WWDB, its staff, or management.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
Good morning, everybody. And what you talking about, Philadelphia? Wake the neighbors, phone your friends, nudge your mama. Your weekly bulletproof comedy episode is here. Of course, I'm talking about Find It in Fishtown Live here on the Talk Station. Matt, is this place still called the Talk Station, WWDB?
WWDB Talk Radio.
That's it. Back in the day,
you can call whatever you want.
It used to be WWDB, the Talk Station. And I always thought that was kind of like impactful.
Let's bring it back.
I want to go with that.
The Talk Station.
Yes.
With Marc Colazzo.
Yeah.
Mark's rebranding
there
the whole
you go.
station.
Yes. Don't, let's not have a meeting. No memos.
No.
We're moving into a new studio anyway. Perfect.
He's going to send us the new logo next week.
Yes. That's why I dress. That's
Instead of the globe, we'll just have your head.
That'll do it. I don't know if that's going to attract anybody.
You'll be selling so many ads.
Yes. Good. By the way, you're welcome. And you're welcome to all our listeners out there, of course. Listening to Find It in Fishtown Live on WWDB 860 AM, the Talk Station. Newly rebranded, of course, by Marc Colazzo. I'm here with the Heckle to my Jekyll, the Abbott to my Costello, the Speedy Gonzalez to my Slowpoke Rodriguez, Kay Anderson. Kay, good morning. Do you know, let me ask you a question, because I think everybody knows clearly, like, of the two of us, I'm the old guy. So, of any of those, did you know any of the references I just gave?
Yes, the last one.
Yes. Did you know who Heckle and Jekyll was?
No.
Matt, do you know who Heckle and Jekyll are? All right. Again, this is a new episode of How Mark Dates Himself. And that can mean so many different things. They were a cartoon duo. I believe they were crows or vultures. And somehow someone thought, you know what we're going to do? Put some of the most frightening birds in the world as a kid's cartoon. And that's who Heckle and Jekyll was.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I had a very full childhood. Anyway, of course, this show is
Were they in color?
I believe so, yes. This wasn't like Steamboat Willie-ish. I didn't
come on right after the
No,
Mickey
I didn't
Mouse.
go to school with Walt Disney, and Thomas Edison wasn't my carpool buddy,
We just need to be clear for the listeners.
Yes, exactly. Here on the talk station, WDB AM 860, brought to you by the fabulous Fishtown District. Let me tell you something. Each and every day, there's something more exciting happening going on to live, shop, work, play. You want it, we have it. Find it in the fabulous Fishtown District. And Kay, where can people find out all the great things happening in an area that is second to none?
FishtownDistrict.com.
And because it's not enough just to hear us talk, if people want to watch us, where do we go?
You can go to our Facebook, Fishtown District.
Yeah, I keep waiting for the .com, and I know there isn't one. And of course, today we're going to be joined in a little bit. So I'm going to get all the silliness out of the way early because she's, going to class the place up once we call her in.
Absolutely.
And I'm afraid of her. It is, of course, no, I love her to death. Our 7th District Councilwoman, Maria Quiñones Sánchez. She has been a dynamo on the scene for, I guess, over 30 years. I've not been in council that long.
Right.
I believe she came in council 2007, Kay.
Yes, I did read that in the bio.
See, there you go.
I did some research.
We do our prep before we come here, and I've had the pleasure to know and work with her, and there is no one more dedicated not only to her convictions, but to the convictions of her constituents.
Absolutely.
For equality and for
Absolutely.
fair treatment for all. So we're looking forward to talking about really all the wonderful things happening in Philadelphia, and we're going to keep saying that. But we know we're happy in the Fishtown District that we have Maria fighting for us. If you want to give her a call or want to, of course, talk to me or maybe hear my mother call in, give us a call at 888-329-3306. That's 888-329-3306. Kay, the countdown is on, as you may know. No, not just to more infotainment next week. We're talking about June 11th.
Yes.
And what does June 11th mean for us?
Reopening.
Free at last. And it almost seems unreal, but other than we're not sure what the mask mandates will be, and certainly,
Right.
hey, listen, we're used to that by now, but the restrictions will be gone.
Absolutely.
And we are planning a fun little day, week, but certainly on June 11th, we're going to encourage everybody, stay tuned. Come join us from 4 to 5:30 at Frankfurt and Girard, right outside Johnny Brenda's.
Yep.
We may be, Matt, I don't know if you don't even know this, we may be taping an episode right from this corner of Find It in Fishtown Live. So, by the way, here on the talk station, WWDB. And I'm sensing it'll be the biggest crowd for an episode here in this station probably ever.
Really?
Exactly. That's actually how Matt talks.
I'll need to get
that
the
was
sound
me.
effects from Matt.
Yes. Well, we'll bring them out. We'll bring them out that day because it'll be at 4 o'clock on a Friday. What could you be doing? Unless it's a Sixers game.
Unless it's a Sixers game, I'm committed to you, Mark.
And right back at you, buddy. Right back at you. What a love fest it is here this morning on Find It in Fishtown Live. But we're going to have a big crowd out there. We're going to have music, and Kay's going to get a little bit into the details of who. On the rooftop of Johnny Brenda's.
Yes.
Our sponsor, Fabrica, is going to send out some cool performers. And really what we're going to do is we're going to have all our friends out to have a big party. And at 5 o'clock, we're going to cut a ribbon to officially celebrate the quote-unquote, I'm doing air quotes. By the way, did you ever see someone do it backwards?
No, that's really weird.
It's like a claw, like you're clawing yourself. I saw someone do it the other day. It was creepy. And by the way, it's always good to do air quotes on radio.
That's why we have the stream. Go if you want to see his air quotes, go to our Facebook at Fishtown
Bad
District.
way, good way. So, and we're going to cut the ribbon. We're going to everybody back, and Fox 29 is going to be joining us, I believe. Mike Jarek is going to be doing you got to try to taste this segment. We're going to tease that. We're not going to tell you where yet, partly because we don't know where yet, but we have an idea. But so, okay, who's going to be playing for us on June 11th?
So we are going to be joined by What's Up Gina, which is one of the best DJs in the city.
Love
she
it.
has a residency over at the Barbary, and it's actually going to be her birthday that day.
Perfect.
So worked out perfectly. And then for the 5 to 5:30 time frame, we are going to be joined by the Dirty Soap Band.
Where do you find these bands with the greatest names? You got, what was it, like Captain Beige and the
Chalk and the Beige Americans.
I love those. I love that. It's my new favorite band.
Yeah, so the Dirty Soap Blues Band is they describe themselves as modern doo-wop. So
as do I.
Think doo-wop mixed with blues and a little bit of punk. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun. I like to describe their shows as a hootenanny.
And by the way, see, now you're dating yourself. That was like a word from before I was born, a hootenanny.
Well, it's a doo-wop band, so I had to kind of throw...
Never actually been to one, but that's awesome. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
My grandma told me they were great.
Were the hootenannies? Matt, have you ever been to a hootenanny? You look like a hootenanny guy. You look like a hootenanny guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's hootenanny around.
Yes. Again, more good radio dancing around the studio. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kim.
No, so it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited. This is Dirty Soap's first show since their virtual shows over at the Fire last year. So I'm excited to see them actually in person again. I'm just happy. And how cool is it? I know Paul Kimport, we got to give Paul a shout out, owner of Johnny Brenda's in the International. He, during COVID, had a rooftop concert reminiscent of the old Beatles concert. Have you heard of them? Okay. Yes,
Good.
I've heard of
them.
All
right.
I've had quite a few albums and stuff.
Had a girl. So we thought, how cool would that be with, thousands of our closest friends coming out? And really the goal is very simple, everybody. Let's celebrate. We've been all cooped up together, and it's been a pretty trying year and a half. And most importantly, let's show some love to all of our Fishtown restaurants, bars, businesses. And don't just come out on June 11th. Come out each and every day because there's something new for you. Speaking of new, I hope everybody, I have some new shoes on today. Very comfortable, so it's going to help if you join me for a special walk over to one of our favorite places, probably the eighth wonder of the world, Kae's Corner. Hold on, I'm not there yet. All right, there we go.
Oh, okay.
I've just got... Kae, take it over. What's happening in the corner today?
Well, so before I get too deep into the corner, I do have to say a very special happy birthday.
Yes.
To Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy. Happy birthday, Sam.
Happy birthday, Sam.
From Cheers?
Yes, Sam Malone's birthday today. Wow. Yes, we cover the whole gamut. We actually wish fictional television characters happy birthday. So.
No, but if you didn't know, my partner is actually Sam Malone. That's his rap name, so that's what I call him. Yes, from Cheers.
Oh, okay.
Mostly because you can usually find him in a bar, on a bar stool. So it made sense.
Aw.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have something, and is the celebration, it's not a surprise tonight where you're going.
No.
Because, of course, I just revealed that there would have been something. So you're going to go out, celebrate.
Yes, we're going to Scarpetta.
Again, never heard it, but...
That's because it's not in Fishtown.
It's true. I don't go anywhere else.
Yeah, so I had to get out the neighborhood just for a special occasion, because if you know me, you know I really don't leave Fishtown or Kensington ever.
There's never a reason to.
Right.
There's never a reason.
But I decided I would try a new restaurant today, so we're going to Scarpetta.
Well, Sam, happy birthday. Enjoy. What is this, 27?
I'm not going to say how old he is on radio.
All right. Well, listen, I'm 53, so I know he's not that.
No, he's not 53, hasn't quite turned 40 yet.
Oh, okay. He's fine.
Yeah.
So, by the way, and Sam, if you're listening, is his delightful parents coming? Because I just love that, especially no one was there to see it at our Inside the Birds event. His father has the same fashion sense as me. Very loud Hawaiian shirt. We bonded immediately, so.
Yes.
Oh, yeah!
There you go.
We actually went over to see his parents on Monday, so no, they won't be joining us tonight. But we did get the family time in.
Let me know when they're coming. Bring them June 11th, because I sense that we'll have some fun together.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, back to the corner.
Yes, so we do have some fun things coming up. If you didn't know, earlier this week was actually National Wine Day. I believe that was yesterday.
Wine Day as if like complaining?
No, like the drink.
Because that's like every day for some of us.
Right. So in addition to heading over to Fishtown Social to visit Vanessa, who we've already had on.
Love her to death.
You can also go to Mural City Cellars, which is over on Amber Street in East Kensington. They are a Fishtown District member and a new business to the area.
Love it.
So check out their wine. And then also the Kensington Community Food Co-op recently started selling wine by the bottle. So you can go in there. They have a selection of at least 30 wines. Check it out and take a bottle home.
And they and Kae's been very active with the co-op, but I don't think they get the props that they deserve. Besides that, they're a treasure to the corridor of like how awesome it is there, how cool it is. And I know there's going to be some special events happening during the summer that, of course, we'll be telling you about when it comes close. Come on out there, check it out. Kae, where's the co-op located?
It is at 2670 Coral Street, which is the intersection of Frankfurt and Lehigh and Coral.
You'll thank us. It almost makes me want to eat healthy. Almost.
I will say I just picked up some local strawberries from there last week because the IGA didn't have any non-organic strawberries. So I picked up the local ones from the food co-op, and they were the sweetest strawberries I have ever tasted.
Look at that. That
was a good one.
Thank you, Willis.
So in addition to National Wine Day, this Friday is National Burger Day.
Now we're cooking.
So I figured I would share some of my favorite places in the neighborhood to get a burger.
Please do.
All right, so topping my list, my all-time...
Wait, hold on. I'm going to move the mic away because I don't want to drool on it as you go. Go ahead.
My all-time favorite place to get a burger in the neighborhood is Kraftwerk.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
That I have to put that first. And you know what? I haven't been there in a while.
I know.
I guess because it's COVID. But yes, that is the best in seared animal flesh on a bun.
100%. Close second, though, and right down the street, Lloyd's.
I'm going to be at Lloyd's tomorrow.
Get a burger.
You've just covered my dining experience.
And finally, the burger that I haven't tried yet, but I've been hearing all the wonderful things about. There is a new burger place that is a ghost kitchen just opened up and is operating out of the Frankfurt Hall area called The Burger That Ate Philadelphia. So you can actually order those burgers either for takeout or delivery via Caviar or DoorDash.
Very well done. But and that pop-up, it's sort of like the theme is sort of horror movies, I believe, or
yeah, so all the burgers have crazy names kind of inspired by horror movies. And they had a very wide range of burger prices, too, which I was happy to see. Like, they still had a $7 burger, which I was not expecting. In addition to... yes. In addition to their $18 aged beef and aged cheddar.
The Kobe, yes.
Yeah. That one was a little fancy for my taste, but maybe I'll get there.
Yeah. I'm dressed for it today. Normally, I would be, with my loud clothing, I'd be in the back with, like, dripping with... I like blue cheese on my burger. I have to be honest.
Really?
I do.
You are a blue burger person.
I am a blue burger person.
That's interesting.
And you don't often find it.
Yeah.
But I recommend it. And I don't necessarily love blue cheese, but like it on that.
See, and I don't eat blue cheese. Like, the whole concept of blue cheese is just weird to me. Like, why would you eat something that you know is moldy?
Well, you're not a bachelor, adult male who you just sort of smell like, it's okay, and you eat it. Hunger will do it.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Thank you, Dr. Evil. That was awesome.
Now I understand. I clearly get it now.
Yes. In fact, because we just had, last week our second sips with students virtually with Evil Genius, where we had pairings of beer and cheese. Blue cheese was one of them.
Which, since that was the last pairing, I will say I did not get to that one. I was already, busy with the other three.
I love that one. That was a good one.
Well, I still have it in the fridge, so maybe I'll try it tonight.
Treat yourself.
There we go. But yeah, so that basically wraps up Kae's Corner, and I believe it is time for Kae's Track of the Week.
All right. Now.
Kae's Track. Kae's Track. Kae's Track. Kae's Track of the Week.
Word.
So I'm actually very excited about this week's track. It's something a little bit different than what you might expect from me.
All right.
But
you've never disappointed yet. Never disappointed yet.
So this is an artist who hails out of South Jersey, I believe, but has been playing in the Fishtown area for at least the past 4 years. And his name is George Engel Brooks. He plays with a acoustic guitar often, but recently he has done a little bit different music than what I was used to from him. And this new track is something that I have been vibing to for the last 3 weeks straight, playing it on repeat, singing it real loud in my car. So this is Rearrange by George Engel Brooks.
I can still feel the splinters from tools we're made to need. But now we've passed that winter, still my hands start to bleed. Feels good, my skin is burning. Maybe it's time for spring, sometime for things to turn it. Now feels so cold for me. Why did you say you loved me? You didn't mean that shit. And now I'm out here smoking on this last cigarette. We didn't know what we're doing. We missed our time to shine. And now you call me 6 months later, wanting me in your life.
So that was George Engel Brooks with Rearrange.
That was awesome. A lot of soul to that one.
Oh, absolutely.
There was literally a guitar gently weeping in that song. Matt?
I liked it.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, it's funny. You can't see it, folks, because he's in the studio. But literally teared up.
Yeah,
you needed to take a moment.
The guitar weeping.
No, are you sure? It was Matt weeping.
It was Matt.
That's why they call this the talk station.
Exactly.
So before we take a break and actually, get serious again, we're not going to do what's Mark wearing, because again, I'm dressed like an adult today. But I just want to relate a story that will again show that I have the maturity of an infant. So yesterday I was talking, Kay, to our friend. She was on the show, Taryn McCarty of Nerd Street Gamers. And Kay, I want to again make sure you understand it's esports, not e-gaming. Taryn, if you ever say e-gaming, will literally fly into a rage. I've seen her attack children who have made the mistake and do that.
I don't think children make that mistake.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Mark, that's just you.
I had to step between the two of you the one time you did it. And of course, she's a good friend. So we happened to touch base yesterday, and she was on, as oftentimes what happens. People are in Zoom meetings all the time. And in a Zoom meeting, I guess that she didn't really want to be on much longer.
That's typical of Zoom meetings.
Exactly. Unless we're on it, in which case,
it's
dynamic.
The best Zoom meeting ever.
Infotainment.
Hey.
So at some point we hung up and we were texting, and we were trying to figure out how to get off the call. And I said, I don't know, of course this pops into my mind. I said, here's the sentence that you can say that you can get off any call, get out of any meeting without any questions asked. This is my gift to society. You can give me credit, not give me credit. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. I have atomic diarrhea. So you can imagine that she was not necessarily overwhelmed by that comment. But she did text back, which is why I'm bringing it up now. But then there's a story later. She's like, I was waiting for it. I've now achieved what I've wanted to do. have fart noises on our radio show. Thank you.
They had reverb too. I
did. That echoed.
Empty bowl noise.
That was taco-ish. That was after a night at Taco Bell. 888-329-3306. So she had, of course, mentioned you should lead your show off with that.
Right.
So, of course, I'm doing that. But now we carry to later, and, of course, I'm in my natural habitat of my love seat in Port Richmond, and I'm just kind of winging through the channels, and I hit Comedy Central, and they're showing a preview for a cartoon series. And if you ever saw those, late at night, those animal rescue ads, and it's Sarah McLachlan's weepy song in the background, it's very moving.
Which I heard that song for the first time in its totality in the grocery store the other day, and that is a really sad song.
It's amazing you don't hang yourself after. It's like Everybody Hurts from REM.
I was mad they were playing it in public. But
Yes.
anyway, continue. My bad.
So, but the cartoon does not, what you're watching doesn't fit the song. That's the point.
Okay.
So, of course, I'm thinking, of course, we do a lot of show prep. You wouldn't know from the actual show. And I'm thinking, all right, I guess I'm going to tell this story. She asked, I'm going to do that. So sure enough, as I'm getting ready to go upstairs, I hear one of the characters go. Now, mind you, how often do we bring up diarrhea on the show? And again, we're going to be joined by Councilwoman Maria Quiñones Sánchez. I'm sure she's begging now to not get on and regretting she's saying, yeah, she's going to kill me.
I'm eyeing it over here.
So she said the character goes, diarrhea, how about exciteria? And I literally let out a laugh that could have woke the dead, that I thought that was the greatest thing. Yeah, and you know what? It doesn't even fit. You had to, and it didn't make any sense. So this is my gift to all of you to start the day. You can thank Taryn McCarty, Nerd Street Gamers, for provoking me to tell the story.
We should really have a new segment called "What Do Mark's Neighbors Think of Him?"
Yes. That's
Bye, Felicia.
Yes, but you know what? It's 8:24 and 11 seconds. We're going to take our first break and actually bring the show back in order. You're listening to Find It in Fishtown Live here on WWDB 860 AM.
It's been part of Philly for over 10 years, so Rivers Casino Philadelphia knows how you like to play. With better odds, more playtime, an upgraded rewards program, plus a state-of-the-art sports book, great restaurants, and more. Everything that real players want, without the overpriced distractions. Rivers Casino Philadelphia is for those who play to win, not play to pay for some fancy new place. Rivers Casino Philadelphia, always on our game. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, both of my daughters were pregnant, and everything I was looking forward to turned into everything I was going to miss. First words, first steps. Today, those babies are 3. I'm with them all the time. I don't know what's next, but I know I'm here today.
A Susan G. Komen grant helped pay for Allanthea surgery, and today she's caring for her grandchildren. Help save lives. Visit IamSusanGKomen.org. A public service message from Susan G. Komen.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to Find It in Fishtown Live. I'm Mark Colazzo here with my co-pilot, Kay Anderson, here on WWDB AM 860, brought to you by the fabulous Fishtown District for everything you could ever want to live, shop, work, play, dine, smile, hug, love. Kay, where can you find it?
FishtownDistrict.com.
And for social media and watching the live stream, where can you see our lovely punums?
On Facebook at Fishtown District.
Now we're going to get to the information part of the infotainment.
Right.
I'm going to apologize to her already for having her follow a story about diarrhea. But
She's shaking her head already.
Yes. She's regretting it. But you know what? In all seriousness, folks, I've had the privilege to know and work with this zealous advocate for people, and I've never found anybody more genuine and caring and dedicated to helping others. It's one thing to say it, but she's always stood by her convictions and fought for those convictions for the 7th District, elected to Philadelphia City Council in 2007. She rallied grassroots support, becoming the first Latina elected to City Council, and quickly became a rising star for her hard work and commitment to government reform. Her legislative accomplishments include the freshman 15 good government reforms, the creation of the Philadelphia Land Bank, happy to work with her on that one, tax foreclosure reform, AVI assistance for vulnerable homeowners, a longtime owner-occupant program, LOOP, a property tax referral program. She's got a lot of stuff.
I was going to say, this is quite a list.
I'm not done yet, though. Landmark, water affordability legislation, and securing $100 million in new funding for affordable housing as part of her progressive agenda to keep people in their homes. There is much, much more, but let's bring her on. Our friend, our councilman, our community partner, Councilwoman Maria Quiñones Sánchez. Good morning, Councilwoman.
Good morning. If I thought I was going to have a slow morning, you guys really fired it up.
You are welcome. And I apologize again. You deserve far more than to follow a story about diarrhea. But thanks for being, and I know you got a long day today as usual. You got a town hall meeting tonight. So, Councilman, before we get into a little bit of your background, this has been really a year like no other. There's no precedent for this. What was it like for you as a community leader and legislative official, elected official, to kind of get through this?
Well, thanks for the invitation, Marc and Kae. And again, thank you for all the work that you do. I think those of us in public service who are always used to serving in a role of connecting people, during COVID, I was extremely concerned about those harder to reach communities and what was happening to them. Were there seniors getting their food? You know, you had all of the senior centers closed. So every day you woke up thinking, wow, who do I need to reach out to? How do I connect people? Very concerned about the mental trauma of folks being in their homes. I think you see the spike in gun violence and all of the other things. So for me, COVID was like, wow, you know, we're in the people business, right? And
sure.
Not being able to see people was problematic.
Absolutely. But somehow, and this is a credit to you and your wonderful staff, we can never not give them their kudos because they're dealing with it each and every day as well. How did you manage to stay so visible to all of your constituents? And you know, you're part of, you know, your district certainly is dealing with, you know, more vulnerable populations who need attention. How much of a challenge was that?
It was very, very challenging. I know that, you know, I'm also Latina, so you know how we touch each other, we hug each other. We, you know, every time I went out the door, my husband was like, don't touch anybody. You know, you got to keep your space, your distance. You know, and again, we're in the business of people want to see you, they want to talk to you. It was very, very difficult. It really highlighted the gap around technology, people's real access to their government. In Kensington, it was just daunting, right? All of the long-term residents of Kensington, you know, are essential workers, so they didn't have the privilege of working from home, right? So you had all of the issues related to public transport. It was really, really challenging. And I think very early on in April, I wrote a piece for the Juniata News, and I said, you know, we can't go back to normal because normal was bad.
It's true.
We got to be a lot better than this. And, you know, later on that the new normal was adopted, but, you know, Council President Clark and others, you know, I hope we become a better society after COVID. You know, one of the things that was very inspiring to me were neighbors getting together, you know, the food distribution, when we started the vaccination process, you know, you saw the very good in people, and it reminded you why we're in this people business. But it was quite challenging. It was, language access issues, people getting in touch with the city. As you know, City Hall is still not officially opened. And again, many of our central department workers were out there, but it was a trying time. And I hope that, we really reset, realign, and reprioritize what's important.
And that's a great point, because as we come out of this now, and the challenge is, listen, even from a commercial quarter, we joke and talk about everything Fishtown, but we are the Fishtown Kensington area business improvement, and our focus is to build up those portions of our communities as well, and probably ones that weren't getting the attention. But other than from you, you've always done that. What are the challenges as we come into 2021, and I know you're in the heart of the budget? What are the challenges you see for not just the city, but your district in particular?
I actually think it's an opportunity for neighborhoods like ours, right? We're right along the L, 3 stops from downtown. I actually think that, in fact, this week I brought over Jerry Sweeney for Brandywine and toured him around Front Street, around Kensington, and just showed him what I believe to be opportunities, right? What we've learned is, particularly in the restaurant business and the work environment, that, outside of the Center City core, there's all these opportunities to create more safer spaces, I would say. But, for the restaurant folks who can no longer have a quaint restaurant downtown, I actually think we're going to be full of opportunities. And I think because of the great work that's been done by the Fishtown bid, I think all of that is going to begin to spill over to the Kensington side of some of the work that we want to do along Kensington and around Front Street. So the challenges were many, but I think the opportunities are just going to blow up. Every person that I've talked to that's a developer who's in the middle of a project, real estate didn't stop. I was facilitating what we call the development work group of the zoning board and the planning commission and CDR and the law department as we reopened, because the real estate market wanted to continue to move forward. And, it grew during this time. So it really showed us that the market was still hot and people still wanted to continue to build, and we needed to keep people continuing to build, right? Because we needed those jobs and those folks to work. So I actually look at everything, in South Kensington just about to pop. And my job right now is to make sure that it's diverse and that it's affordable and accessible, and that we really help shape it so that it's a neighborhood for all. And I think we're going to get there. And I think I think the work that's been done so far has shown us that we're hip. We're very close to downtown, and if you want to live here, we're close to all of the major transportation, as well as all of the major gateway highways. This is a cool place to be. I'm glad that 26 years ago, my husband and I moved into the North Square, South Kensington area. It's where we raised our family, and it's where I want to stay.
By the way, we're happy you made that choice too. Before we get into a little of the background, and it's funny because you talk about the development, and certainly American Street has progressed leaps and bounds. We've seen, and we're starting to see even more around the Frankfurt and Lehigh area. And it's a credit to everybody for vision, for seeing what could be. And I think one of the things, I know this is a priority of yours, how do we make sure that this development doesn't price out those vulnerable communities? How can we do that? How can we work together to do that?
Well, one thing is we have to be focused and intentional on that, right? I think that the market is going to do what the market does. We cannot ensure affordability and long-term affordability without the private market. And what I've been trying to do with the folks coming in to develop, and some of the younger developers who appreciate, entrepreneurship and want to be helpful, the discussion is, how do we leverage the private market to build affordability? So we have a couple of things going on. One, we've been convening the 6 RCOs that comprise the south part of my district. We've been having conversations around zoning, around affordability and quality of life issues, parking issues, green space issues, traffic issues, the opportunities the American Street renovation brings, and then sort of like what are all the parks and rec. So every single public space below Lehigh is getting some investment, whether it's through our general capital or through rebuild. Every space is being updated, right? But at the same time, and I'll use Nelson Playground over on 3rd Street as an example, the residents wanted to keep true to some of the cultural aspects of what was there. So in our renovations, it's been interesting to sit with folks whose children are now playing in the playground they grew up in and what they appreciated of it. And as we've refreshed them, we've also kept that kind of that core. So, I think that this mixed income neighborhood will not happen. It has to have partnerships. So we've been working with APM, Norris Square, Esperanza. We got PHA to pipeline 240 vacant lots below Lehigh for affordability. We're working with the land bank and leveraging that. And then we're trying to build those public-private partnerships. So I think you're going to see, like, again, and the abatement deadline obviously is upon people, so that there is this rush to develop it. There's going to be thousands of units built, and we hope to have many affordable in that mix. But we also want to make sure that the jobs come, right? And I think that's the work that you do and Kay does. I think there's a lot of opportunity to inspire and motivate entrepreneurship and bring businesses of color to this area because of where we are and because we're hip. I really think this is, I was talking to one of the young developers that has a lot of investment, who's done stuff all over the country. And he's like, Philadelphia is just a great place to be. And I believe that. I love Philadelphia and I love our neighborhoods, and I love all of the idiosyncrasies of neighborhoods in the city. So I think it's, there's a lot of promise.
Absolutely. One of the things that you kind of briefly touched on was that it's more than just preserving the affordability within a neighborhood. You also touched on preserving that cultural legacy, for example. So what are some ways that you, in your position, as well as folks like Marc and I, can ensure that there's equity and that we're doing equitable development, which is a huge buzzword right now?
Yeah, it is. And it means a lot of things, and it's a fully charged word if you take it to its core, right? So, equity is making sure that again, you have the diversity of offerings, right? If you literally can work, live, eat, do everything within 20, 25 blocks, what are all of the community attributes that have been important, why people moved here, right? I think when we moved to Norris Square to raise our family, we got a great brownstone, very comfortable home. But, we also knew our kids were going to be able to walk to the L and go to whatever schools they chose. There's all those elements. And then making sure that there's a variety of food options, right? And bars. And, you can walk Front Street from Lehigh to Girard, and there's like 10 different languages. You want to keep all of those things. And the way to keep it is to make sure that, we're not just renovating and cleaning up without respecting that, right? That's why I like to insist, this is old Kensington. You build brick, you build, you want to keep all of those things that drew people, the original folks, into the neighborhood. And then, through the activities, I think one of the things that is real important is, as we do these, block parties and these festivals, that we include, some of the local folks and some of those some of the different cultures that exist here. And that's not going to happen by accident. We really have to be intentional and deliberate about that. At the same time, we recognize that, some people will leave because they'll cash out, and that's not a bad thing either, right? I have that conversation with my neighbors all the time. They're like, I'm cashing out and, I'm leaving. And I don't want them to feel guilty because they've decided that, they don't want to see the density and, and they want to go somewhere quieter or go to Florida or do those things. So it's, respecting the folks that are here and embracing the new and always keeping it, funky.
Yeah. Councilwoman, can you hang with us through one more commercial? We are riveted to every word. By the way, you are the epitome of hip, by the way.
I try to be.
We're going to use you on our brochure.
and a Gen Z kid, and my Gen Z kid says I'm not hip enough, so I'm working at it.
There you go. Well, you're nailing it. We're going to be right back with more Find It at Fishtown Live here on WWDB 860 AM, the talk station.
It's been part of Philly for over 10 years, so Rivers Casino Philadelphia knows how you like to play. With better odds, more playtime, an upgraded rewards program, plus a state-of-the-art sports book, great restaurants, and more. Everything that real players want, without the overpriced distractions. Rivers Casino Philadelphia is for those who play to win, not play to pay for some fancy new place. Rivers Casino Philadelphia, always on our game. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You are a waste, a loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Some kids never smile. They're embarrassed by their crooked teeth. They want braces like the other kids, but their families can't afford them. Some may even try to straighten their teeth themselves. That can make everything worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. It helps provide orthodontic treatment to kids and teens whose families can't afford it. For kids who apply, are approved, and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, it can be life-changing. Their treatment is in the hands of an expert, a licensed local orthodontic specialist who improves their smiles by correctly aligning teeth and jaws. Some kids think they'll never smile again, but Donated Orthodontic Services may help them smile with confidence. To link to the application and eligibility requirements, visit aaoinfo.org.
Everybody to Find It at Fishtown Live here on WWDB 860 AM, brought to you by the fabulous Fishtown District for everything awesome and hip, and Councilwoman Maria Quinones Sanchez. You can always find it at Fishtown at thefishtowndistrict.com. Also, if you have a question for our guest, please give us a call at 888-329-3306. That's 888-329-3306. By the way, I don't think anybody has any more uplifting commercials than we do here on Find It at Fishtown Live, between someone calling someone a waste and bad teeth. We're really here to help. With that, again, we're back talking to.
I want to know who tries to straighten their teeth by themselves.
I'm trying to figure that out.
That's going to be the topic of next week's show.
Okay.
We're busy now. Let's keep this serious.
Okay.
Matt. We're here with 7th District Councilwoman Maria Quiñones Sánchez. Councilwoman, talk about a little bit about your background. What led you to take the step to run for council? And I'm going to ask you directly, was it what you thought it would be?
Well, Mark, you worked for an elected official for a long time. You know, every day is a very unique day.
Oh, you're not kidding.
I had the pleasure of working for Councilmember Tasco many years ago when she represented my neighborhood of Hunting Park. And, I did some work with Angel Ortiz. I'd done, was a city commissioner, deputy commissioner. I founded a charter school. I started in economic development in my CDC, Hunting Park CDC, back in the 80s. So always was interested in this work. Oftentimes, when folks say, why did you run? One, I had worked with a lot of folks and really thought that we needed to bring a different type of politics. This district had a lot of issues around corruption and all this other stuff, and really felt like it needed a cheerleader, right? And I really, I always see the glass as half full. But, when I started this job as a district council person, I knew that It was going to be complex. Some of the things, and I say this in the conversation now as we talk about public safety, the one part of the job I never thought I was going to have to do was this coordination around public safety and how deep it is,
Sure.
right? And we've been lucky in East Division, as you know, Mark, we have captains who are accessible. In fact, as soon as I finish this, I'm having an emergency meeting with East Division leaders to talk around some issues that we're confronting as we reopen, and we have some challenges. So the coordination of the public safety, understanding the complexities and the generational poverty. And that's why everything I've done legislatively really comes from the constituents. The constituent services work drives the legislative agenda, right? When someone calls you with a problem, once you're concerned, but when you see a system of this is the same problem, then that requires a legislative policy fix that is much different. So definitely our constituents drive our legislative agenda and what we do. Council people at large, and I'll throw them under the bus now, they get to pick what they want to battle.
True.
I wake up and I can plan my day, but it don't matter. If something happened last night, there's a fire, so every day is very different. But I take this job very, very seriously. I have a lot of deep respect for the residents that I have to represent every single day. And Mark, we have some challenges in Kensington, and no one. It is unacceptable, the conditions that we've allowed in Kensington.
Sure.
And when I'm talking to residents in Kensington and they're cursing me out, they'll be like, Maria, and it's really, really challenging. And that's why leadership is important. Kensington is full of wonderful, wonderful people. The challenges between the vulnerable homeless population, the opioid addiction, we want to meet people where they are. But we shouldn't trap an entire community. Those are not the options, and they shouldn't be the options. And it's quite challenging, but they motivate me because they wake up every day. They're resilient. As I said, they were the essential workers. They went out to work, and I feel a strong responsibility to calling out the city for having that kind of containment strategy, but then also working with the stakeholders around the transformation that we need. And the transformation is not about displacement, but it really is about how do we treat poor working class communities? And that's not a good example of one.
And one of the things that I actually wanted to commend you on is we see a lot of politicians fall into this trap of decision paralysis, where if they don't know a solution to a problem, there's a lack of action taken in that sense. And one of the things that you refuse to do is not take action when you notice a problem. So I just wanted to commend you for that. But I also know that it's difficult, especially dealing with the opiate crisis in Kensington. So what are some of the priorities that you have specifically for that area and for that issue that you're working on currently?
So, we continue. I was on a journey for 10 years, even prior to some of the popping off, a journey around reforming some of our behavioral health and our drug treatment access. We have a lot of work to do in this space. There's the community behavioral health. We have our own Medicaid program. It's a $1.6 billion apparatus. And, for me, that is a space where we really have pushed for transparency, accountability, all of the things related to how do we really meet people where they are. And that means that, our treatment methodology has had to evolve, and that bureaucracy has been slow to change. So I'm going to continue to work in that so that 50% of our treatment beds have gone unused during COVID. People are not coming in. There's a lot of reasons for it, right? So we're going to continue to do work in that space. I think the no tolerance of some of the things that are happening in our green spaces is, McPherson Square. There has to be sacred places. There has to be places in the city where the mayor and his team have to recognize we have to have safe spaces for kids. And that's not what we're doing in Kensington. And at McPherson Square in particular. McPherson's going to be a rebuild project. We've had a lot of challenges because, we're going to put, $15 million in a building in a neighborhood that's broken and not ensure that we're going to have the kind of programming that community deserves. So I'm going to push the city to make substantial commitment. On the Carter, thanks to New Kensington CDC and Impact Services, we have Carter support. We've done the best we can around cleaning, around all of those issues, but it goes to the core of people, right? So you have a community that needs, support around job skills and training, and needs, rental assistance, needs help with preservation. I mean, we work with Rebuilding Philadelphia around doing some of the quality of life improvements. We just started a pilot program to help families who have been victims to some of the vandalism associated to what's going on, broken windows, doors, locks, it's very, very complicated. So it's not one thing. It's like all of these things have to happen. Obviously, holding SEPTA accountable, they've actually been better than even the city in responding, with the Somerset closure and opening it up, and now very committed to work at not only Somerset Station, but all of the stations in the Kensington area that are being impacted. So it's a lot of different things, but it requires a lot of leadership. Every single day I spend a couple of hours just on issues related to Kensington. So, I'm going to continue to challenge the city and their policy. Again, the options can be meet people where they are and trap a community. There's somewhere in the middle that, protects people's quality of life at the same time as providing people help. Nowhere else in the city of Philadelphia what's happening in Kensington is allowed, and I keep reminding folks, when the Parkway had challenges last summer, in 3 months, they figured everything out. This is year 4 of Kensington. So it's quite a challenge. And, I work very closely with Councilmember Squilla, who is my partner in crime as it relates to this. We're going to continue to challenge ourselves in government to do better by Kensington.
Well, as a Kensington resident, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Councilwoman, in the last couple of minutes before we talk about your agenda moving forward, having been in, working in elected office myself, I give you all the credit in the world because you continue to fight and make sure people feel heard. But how has the job since 2007 changed you? Because it has to,
it's
right?
Interesting. Councilmember Jones always talks about how he wants to go back and debate the Councilman Jones of 2007, right? So it's like, what does the councilwoman of today, what will she tell the council member of that time? I came into council on a very, with a freshman class that was very activated with very much progressive ideals and values. Before it was cool and easier, right? Now they're much more progressive council people. But, when I first started, when we were talking about fair wages at the airport, when we were talking about janitorial, organizing of the janitor, all those types of things were not popular and were not easy. There were heavier lifts. What I say is, I spent the first 4 years really just calling out everybody. Spent the next 4 years trying to figure out, okay, so, I have more progressive ideals than folks, but how do we work together, right? And then trying to build some consensus around there. And really the experience, now that I'm chair of appropriations, I'm chair of education, there's a certain level of seniority that gives you this sense of looking through not what people say, but where people put their money, and being chair of appropriations has been helpful. Personally, for me, is like, I now am much, much better at listening to folks and not feeling the need to debate people, but just listen to folks, right? Because I think one of the things we saw during this Trump era is sort of like people are two extremes shouting at each other. Yep. And so the Maria of today is definitely the person that wants to hear people and wants people to understand that they're being heard, that their perspective is validated, right? Even when I disagree with them around some of those issues, and then really trying to find the point of connection. What is the intersection where we do agree, right? So we're not focused on where we disagree. So I think there's a lot of maturity that comes with, raising 2 kids, now being a grandmother. I think you just see the world very, very differently. And so I don't want to fight to be right. I want to fight so that we can achieve things together. And so that's a totally different approach than when I first got elected.
Well, just know that we love the Maria of yesterday, today. Look forward to tomorrow. in the last couple of seconds, Councilwoman, where can our folks find you if they need you?
Well, all of the emails go directly to me. So if you go on the City Council website, maria.q.sanchez@phila.gov, yes, I am constantly on. I think Mark might be, Councilmember Squilla might beat me. We're always on joint emails together,
Yes.
so he's probably on it more than me, but we'll talk about it. But they can call the office. I mean, we are working virtually. We're starting a hybrid model, but again, City Hall is not open to the public. 215-686-3448, 215-3448. And one of the things I learned during COVID, Mark, people can find you.
Oh, yes.
Messenger, Instagram, Facebook, text. It was like, wow, I have 6 different mediums that I'm responding to all the time. But yeah, I'm always eager to hear and listen. People can send me an email, their thoughts. As you know, with the
Councilwoman, I don't mean to interrupt you.
The time residents send me, very personal notes and stuff. And I like to hear from people. I mean, I work for them and I like to hear from them.
Thank you, Councilwoman Maria Quiñones Sánchez, for being our guest, our friend, our partner, our leader. We look forward to working with you. Have a great day and have a good meeting tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday for another episode of Find It in Fishtown Live.